We've got another design formula for your handmade cards in today's video. The formula is simple: stripes, shapes, and strips. It'll all make sense when you see the card project come together, so stick around to learn this simple formula that you can apply to any handmade card. That video is coming up next. Let's get started with the first part of the formula, the stripes. I have 3 strips of cardstock that I'm going to use as my stripes. I used Concord and 9th diagonal shortcut dies. These are different widths designed to create the same length of stripe, which is 4 1/4 inches, but you could do any stripes with this at all and just cut off the edges. So we take our cardstock. This panel is just a 4 1/4 by 5. And then you glue on some stripes. Like that. Doesn't have to be, oh yes, it does have to be. Hold on here. Let me get this up a bit. I got to get it straight. There we go. All right, because when it's straight, it's going to line up pretty much perfectly. Now I have trimmed this obviously off a little, but that's okay because I'm going to be trimming this down. And I'm just going to put the little extra adhesive here. Line this up again and butt it up against this. So you can make stripes out of pretty much anything you have. Pattern paper, as you'll see. And here we're just going to get that on there. And get them lined up at an angle, or they can be straight too. Whatever you want to do for your stripes. I'm going to get a little bit extra down here. And line that up. I'm going to take a little adhesive eraser because I got a little much on here and get the extra. Those are the stripes. Now it's time to bring in a shape. I am going to use a glitter cardstock heart. This is cardstock and a die from Simon Says Stamp, and that is going to be, well, it could go either way. It really doesn't matter. But first I'm going to trim this down to get the base panel of my card. And here's where I have to decide, do I want this to be a horizontal crop like that? Or do I want it to be a vertical crop? Like if I did this, and here's the fun thing, you can flip it upside down, doesn't matter. I actually think I am gonna go, no, we're gonna go horizontal on this one. Okay, so we're gonna take this here. Let me run this through my die cut machine. This is an A2 layers die, and this will seal in the stripey goodness. Now I have a lovely panel ready for my card with my stripes. You can go either way, doesn't matter. And if you had a bigger shape, you could certainly go this way. Let me get some foam tape on the back of this so that we can start to build up the card and then add our strip greeting. I popped this on to a horizontal note card that measures 5.5 by 4 1/4 using some foam tape to pop it up. And now I've added foam squares to the back of my shape, which is a heart, as we know, and I will pop this down right onto the center, just so there's a little heart sticking out from side to side, right about like that. Now, time for the strip. For the strip, I'm using a basic sentiment strip, and I want to show you because I have a whole stash of these that I keep in a little bin. These are all from some Altenew press plates. Sentiment strips are such a great way to finish out and add your greeting to any card. I will show you something I do, however, on every sentiment strip that I have that I cut myself, especially the ones that are black ink that are printed on white core cardstock. And that is, I keep a Copic marker. This is T10. And I just go along the edges of the strip so that it looks like it's on black cardstock all the way through with magical white ink. White ink generally in crafting doesn't really exist unless you A, emboss it, but in printing, This is called a reverse, where what you see as white is simply the absence of ink color. So we're going to finish that off, and this, this will go onto my card. Then I will pick this up, pretty confident that I don't need to put any glue on, and I think I am, well, I mean, you know, I kind of want to do the angle of the heart or of the stripes, but honestly, I think I might just have this be straight. You could do that though too. You know what? That is kind of cute. Yeah, I'm going to match that. I'm going to match that angle. I think that's really cute. So there is my strip. Stripes, shapes, strips. This is the basic formula, and you could play this up any way you like. However, I'm going to keep it very simple, but I do want to show you one way you could step up your panel. You can always run it through a 3D embossing folder or some other embossing folder. Here's another example that I did, and you can see those extra little details. You can really see it on the back as well. You could take any pattern at all, and once you have your stripes on, you could run it through with an embossing machine. That's example one of the formula. Let's move on. For the next card, I'm going to create stripes of pattern paper. This is the pattern paper I'm using today from Pink and Main. It has both gradient papers and the polka dot papers. Let me get all of these glued onto this piece of cardstock, which is an 80-pound weight. I just glued all of the strips on with a little tape runner, and I'm just going to cut this right on the edge because I don't need this extra. I guess I don't need these as well. Now you could use this panel as is, but I'm going to apply the formula. So let's bring in a shape. I'm going to use this shape die set. This is the Simon Says Stamp Domed Arches, and I'm going to pick one of these domes to create some stripes for my card. And the way I'm going to do this is angle it so I get a little bit of all of it, as much as I can fit in there, so that it comes off as stripy. Okay, get that there. And I will go ahead and run this through my die cut machine. And again, it will seal all of this stripy goodness right into this shape. Alrighty, we'll pick this up. And I have a very cool pattern paper striped shape for my card. All right, moving on. For my strip sentiment, I'm actually going to use a greeting from the Clean Line Everyday set. I normally have coordinating dies, which I do, but if you don't, you can always turn any basic stamped greeting into a strip. What I did was I stamped good luck onto black cardstock and embossed it in white, and now all I have to do is trim this down from side to side, and I will have the nice little strip greeting ready for my card. I like to use my small guillotine trimmer for this because it's just a little easier for me to line up my center groove here on the edge of the letter itself, the farmost one to the right. Then I can flip it and do the same thing on the other side. And that way I have a perfectly centered greeting from side to side. Let me just add a little foam tape and we'll pop that up. Now that it's trimmed, I will take my little piece of foam tape off the back. For this one, I will use a little bit of liquid glue just to give this a second while I pop it down. So you could do this with any pattern papers that you have. And you know how us crafters have like a zillion of them just sitting around? Yeah. So here at the bottom, you just, basically center it like that. That doesn't look straight, so I'm going to bring in my ruler and just make sure that is straight. Now that is a really nice core design. You could keep it very simple like this. Your pattern paper, your stripes here are looking good, your shape is looking good, and your strip sentiment. But if you want to, step it up, you could take any type of stamped element. I just stamped a little bunny from my Wild Love stamp set that has all these cute little critters, and I can just tuck him right in there, which I think makes a really cute good luck card. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. But you can see it just adds a little something. You could put a bouquet. You could Any sort of critter that you have would work. Maybe you have a lucky clover. So many things for this theme. But I hope this shows you that you can make really basic designs and then kind of step them up a little based on your own, style and taste. I think this little critter will look really cute on here for a nice little good luck card. And we will put him, and I used thinner foam tape so that this little friend could tuck right underneath like that. Just kind of visually center it. So we have our stripes, we have our shape, we have our strip, and then just stepped it up with a cute little black and white critter right in the center. The final card, I'm going to show you a way you can ink blend your stripes onto your card. And the way I like to do this is I take a piece of masking paper. Here I have some Gina K Designs Masking Magic and the sentiment labels that I used earlier to cut out my greeting itself for the last card. I'm going to just take it and pop it right in here in the top. I won't use the bottom half, but let me cut this out really quickly. Now, when I lift this up, I will have a little window cut. And what I'm going to do is peel this off the backer and place it down onto my cardstock. I went ahead and trimmed a panel down to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then I'm just going to release the backer here. Oh, it goes on this side. I will save the other piece. And, oh, I forgot to cut it. Okay, let's cut that real quick. And now I will create a little area for a stripe. I'm going to start basically in, mostly in the center. And the nice thing is the masking magic will hold this down. So let me grab some inks so I can blend on some stripes. So here you can take any gathering. I'm going to go in rainbow order, but because I'm starting in the middle, I'm going to start with my middle color. So I'm going to put those up top, those down below, and I'm going to start with my orange, and I'll speed this up so you can see how it comes together. I'm using small blending brushes today because I didn't want to risk going outside of the boundary with a larger brush of the masking magic. One way you could get around this is just put a piece of cardstock over the top and bottom to protect it, but I like these small brushes and they work just fine. And even though it looks a little blotchy to start, these inks will smooth out beautifully and it will look great. I'm taking the mask and overlapping a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch, and then coming in with the next color, again, keeping it in rainbow order. This is a really easy way to create a fun panel. And of course, it's just one layer, right? You're blending on inks. But one thing to be mindful if you're using masking magic is to wipe off the mask in between colors, only because ink can pool on the slick surface of the masking magic. And so I just made sure to do that as there became more ink on the piece itself. Here I'm coming in with the lightest color at the top. This is Innocent Pink, and just building it out. Now I think this could have been cute just stopping at 3 stripes, but I wanted to get some yellow in there. So I brought in my yellow, and then I was able to finish out this card. As I was blending the yellow, it got a little dark in one spot, and that's when I kind of changed my mind and thought, well, so much for the light hand, and I went back in and just went with a really dark hand. Again, knowing it's going to dry back beautifully. I popped my panel with the stripes onto a dusty rose card base, and for my circle, I used the Gina K Designs Master Layouts 18, and I cut 3 layers in white and 1 layer in gold because I am going to pop this right in the center here. And then for my strip, I just cut a banner that's going to go right across in the center for a happy birthday card. So your shape can be some fun die cut as well. I think this little chain of hearts is so cute. So let me get all of this glued on, and then we will finish out this card for today's video. Now this is a card that I could definitely put a few little embellishments on, so let me do that as well. Thought it would be cute just to put 5 inside the circle, a little more gold shine, not too fancy. keep it all contained. And we'll add those. Boop. So hopefully today you have a formula that you can try out with things you have on hand, right? Make some stripes, find some die cut shapes, and top off your card with a strip for a greeting, or in this case, a banner. Let's do a quick design review of all 3 cards. These are very simple applications of the formula, but hopefully it will also give you ideas of how you can expand. So here we have a very monochromatic set of stripes. We keep with the color pink for the shape, which is a glitter cardstock heart, and then a very simple sentiment strip here as well. We have a nice wide half-inch margin of space, tone on tone, lots of white space so this could breathe. You could zooch this up a little as well with some embellishments, but I chose to keep this one very simple. For this little friend here, again, your pattern papers, get them out, adhere them to a piece of cardstock, and cut out some shapes for your cards. It gives you a really fun way to use patterns, and then a big strip greeting is a-okay if you want to throw on a cute little critter or a flower or like a die cut layered flower, anything you like. This is a basic formula for a really nice card base itself. And for the last card, we have our stripes that were ink blended. Doesn't even matter that I was a little blotchy on that. Turns out looking great. Our shape is a little chain of hearts, and our strip is the happy birthday going across. And of course, we have a little gold here, picking up with the gold embossing and the gold embellishments. And a very nice 1/4-inch margin that is actually the same full color strength of the Dusty Rose that is right there. And that wraps up today's card video. I hope you give this formula a try the next time you're stuck. You know, that happens when you're sitting down to make cards and people ask me, Kathy, where do you come up with your ideas? And sometimes I just think in terms of formulas. So make some stripes, find a shape, and add a strip, and then play with it any way you like. To see more card formulas, check out the thumbnail up here that I have linked, and I'll see you in that video.